So again, we're going to be breaking this down. We're going to break chapter 2 down. So this is chapter 2A, the structure of art. In this chapter, we're going to be identifying the characteristics of different art forms and how to distinguish one from another. This PowerPoint also has embedded videos from YouTube, which it won't allow me to leave those in there and have them play along with the voiceover. So I'm also going to be putting these into the Canvas for the assignments for the week. And I really suggest that you watch them because they're very, very interesting. We don't always think about how the process is done. So make sure you watch those. So as we look through history and we look at specific cultures around the world and the art objects that have been created by them, we can see that they all share similar elements. All artwork have substance. They're flat, they're in the round, they may or may not use perspective, line, shape, color, mass, value, texture, etc., but they all have substance. Over time, a common language is developed that describe artworks and their designs. We're going to learn the art-specific language that will enable us to understand the art, and then in turn, we can understand the artists that created them. Now, every job has its own lingo or language. Visual art isn't any different. Your textbook shows these different terms in a bold print. Be sure that you read those and that you understand what those terms mean. The main thing that distinguishes art is dimension. Painting, drawing, printmaking are two-dimensional art. 2D art has height and width. Three-dimensional art usually refers to sculpture, installation art, or kinetic art, and they have height, width, and depth. New technologies have given us art with 4 dimensions. We also call this time-based art. Dimension is the most deciding aspect of an artwork. Dimension is how an object exists in time and space. In art, we have 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, and 4-dimensional art. 2-dimensional objects are flat, usually created on paper, canvas, wood, even walls. They are restricted to height and width alone. And drawing, painting, and printmaking are all 2D art forms. Here are some examples of 2-dimensional art. The one on the far left is drawing. The one in the middle is painting, and the one on the right-hand side is printmaking. 3-dimensional art goes beyond height and width and adds depth. "3D objects can be viewed from all angles, which is in the round, or they could be viewed as a relief, which is a sculpture that projects from a background surface. Other 3D techniques are assemblage, installation art, and kinetic art. Freestanding or in the round artwork is artwork that can be viewed from all angles. Freestanding sculptures can be modeled, carved, cast, installed, or kinetic. Relief sculptures can be high relief or low relief. Typically, relief sculptures are tied to architecture in some way. With the high relief sculptures, over half of the sculpted form projects from the background surface. This also produces what we call undercuts. An example of that would be on the left between the leg of the man and the body of the centaur. In low relief sculpture, the projection of the relief is limited, like the Egyptian wall art on the right. Another example of low relief art would be the coins that we use. So there are different ways that sculpture can be created. Modeling is a sculpture technique that is additive. In other words, you start with a soft material such as a block of clay or wax and you add pieces to build it up. This video shows a really good example of how that is done. Carving is a subtractive method used on harder materials such as stone or wood. With carving, the work begins with a solid block, and then you start to take away the portions to create your sculpture. Casting is a method that's used primarily to create metal sculptures. The lost wax process is the most common. This video shows how the lost wax casting process works. The sculpture is first created in clay to scale. The clay is then coated in wax, then in plaster. After the plaster dries, the mold is heated to melt the wax. The wax is drained out and the liquid metal is poured in. This leaves a hollow sculpture that is extremely durable. Assemblage is another type of sculpture, and it's a fairly new technique in the whole scheme of things. Different pieces of material are attached together. Many assemblages are made of found objects, like the ones in this video. Installation art is 3D art that transforms a specific space. It could be inside, it could be outside, and this transformation becomes an interactive experience with the viewer. The viewer, in essence, becomes part of the art. Kinetic art is art that moves or appears to move. Alexander Calder was a key artist in the idea of kinetic art. He basically created the mobile. Four-dimensional art is fairly new. Videos, projection mapping, performance art, new media art are all types of four-dimensional art. They also consider four-dimensional art to be time-based. Video four-dimensional art uses a technology of projected moving images displayed on monitors. Projection mapping uses video projected onto 3D objects to create a spatially augmented reality. Performance art can cover a wide range of art forms. The artist medium is the performance itself. Theater is the most common of performance arts, but many artists create other forms. Performance art is typically photographed or recorded for documentation, but the artwork is the act itself. New media art refers to interactive digital art, video games, computer animation, and the like. These are just a few vocabulary words that were in this part of Chapter 2. There's not enough slides to put them all on there. Please be sure to go back to the Canvas page and watch those videos that go along with the 3D art and 4D art. I think you'll find them very interesting. And there might be some questions on the quiz about them.